Welcome back, everybody. As you know, today is Monday, and I already have a video that was released today. And normally my schedule is Monday, Wednesday, and Friday I release videos. However, this morning it was a kind of unexpected release of kind of what I would consider FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt articles that just flooded the internet with regards to Tesla's autopilot and autonomous driving and everything that has to do with that. So I want to jump on here and make a quick video to kind of, have the other side of the picture and maybe a more balanced perspective about what's going on with this new investigation into Tesla with regards to their autopilot. So with that said, this will be a quick video and it's gonna be a very pointed one. Again, this is about fighting FUD and just getting truth and both sides of the story and making sure that we have a holistic view when we talk about this. Okay, so let's just go ahead and dive right into it. Okay, so there are three articles we're going to cover with regards to this FUD. So let's just dive in and we'll look at Bloomberg first. So here we can see the headline, Tesla Autopilot probe by US for emergency vehicle crashes. Nothing wrong with the title. It's fine. That's a very truthful thing. There's an investigation going on. So far, no issue. The US has opened a formal investigation of Tesla Inc.'s autopilot system, citing collisions with parked emergency vehicles, according to documents posted Monday on the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration website. The investigation covers an estimated 765,000 Tesla Model Y, X, S, and 3 vehicles from 2014 to 2021 model years. The NHTSA said it launched a probe after 11 crashes, which resulted in 17 injuries and 1 fatality. So keep in mind, over the span of 2014 and 2021, 7 years, there's been 11 crashes with 17 injuries and 1 fatality over that span. Keep those numbers in your head because we're going to come back to those. Most incidents took place after dark, and the crash scenes encountered include scene control measures such as first responders, vehicle light flares, illuminated arrow board, and road cones. The agency said in the document, the involved subject vehicles were all confirmed to have been engaged in either autopilot or traffic-aware cruise control during the approach to the crashes. Now, again, Tesla has stressed over and over, and we're going to look at their disclaimer, that if you're using autopilot, if you're using self-assist, this is not autonomous vehicles. This is not full self-driving. That does not exist. They are very clear about it. They make it difficult for you to engage these features, and it's literally the first lines they have on those disclaimers. And I'll show that to you in a second here. At the end of the day, it's everybody's own responsibility. Okay, that's no different than buckling up your seatbelt. It's your responsibility. Okay, so let's keep reading. And notice, they don't mention any of that here. Tesla shares fell by as much as 2.4% to 716, which is even lower now. Autopilot is Tesla's driver assistant system that maintains vehicle speed and lane centering when engaged. But the driver still is responsible for identifying other vehicles and obstacles in the roadway or responding to maneuvers by neighboring vehicles. Critics have suggested it is improperly marketed as a system that is capable of fully automatic driving. Again, that's a load of BS, okay? That's just not true, all right? Tesla is very clear, very implicit. Elon probably once a month talks about how none of this is autonomous driving. It's all beta. It's all has to be monitored and carefully used by drivers. Elon Musk, the CEO of the company, specifically says this at least once a month. Okay, let's look at another article here. All right, so let's go to the top of this one. So this one says U.S. government opens up probe into Tesla autopilot crashes with emergency vehicles. And you'll see the same narrative here. So here we talk about the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, or NHTSA, has opened a probe into Tesla autopilot software, citing the car's repeated collision with parked emergency vehicles. The NHTSA investigation will cover Tesla, all the same things, right? From 2014 to 2021, the federal agency says since 2018, it has logged 11 incidences, which includes 17 injuries and 1 fatality, in which Tesla vehicles using the company's autopilot feature, like traffic-aware cruise control, have crashed into stationary emergency vehicles. The agency says most of these incidences took place after dark, with the software ignoring scene control measures, including warning lights, flares, cones, and illuminated arrow board. Again, I would argue The driver ignored these things. The driver wasn't paying attention. The driver is responsible. Okay? At the end of the day, it's a tool. All right? It's not something that's ready to go. It's not something that's autonomous driving. And Tesla makes a very pointed attempt to make that clear to you. And again, I will show that to you in a second here. The investigation will assess the technologies and methods used to monitor, assist, and enforce the driver's engagement with dynamic driving tasks during autopilot operations. This is just dumb. The thought that the NHTSA will have the understanding and the engineering and the autonomous intelligence within their manpower of an organization to understand how Tesla neural nets work is just laughable. Okay, this is no different than all social media companies out there where Congress has tried to put rules around them, yet Congress doesn't understand how they work, right? I mean, somebody literally, whenever Mark Zuckerberg was there, was saying, "Hey, can Google hear what I'm doing?" You know, and Mark's like, "I don't work for Google. Like, what are you talking about?" Right? This is just like them trying to pass laws with regard to cryptocurrency, which we saw, Ted Cruz. And again, this isn't a political thing, left or right, but it's a very good point where Ted Cruz rebuked Congress for trying to make laws and regulation for things that they can't even come up with 2 sentences to explain what it is. Okay, government is not an entity that understands technology. They lag technology. Okay, frankly, it's a whole bunch of geriatric people who don't know what they're doing. And the thought that they can come in here and understand what's happening with a company who's leading the world in AI, it's ridiculous. Like, this is going to be a waste of time. This is literally just a headline for nothing. Okay, and I'll get into in a little bit here why this is just laughable, because Teslas are the safest vehicles in the world. By far, not even remotely close. Which, if you watch my video from earlier today that went off at noon, and if not, you can find it here, you'll see more in depth about how safe Teslas are compared to everyone else in the world. Okay, so a spokesman for the agency said that the investigation was in its preliminary stages and primarily concerned with uncovering additional information about the incidents. The spokesperson noted that the public should be aware that no commercially available cars are able to drive themselves, and vehicles always require a human in control at all times. The ability of driving assistance software from Tesla and other automakers to spot parked emergency vehicles is well known. Experts told Wired in 2018 that the likely cause is that these systems are programmed to mostly ignore stationary objects. Otherwise, they might react to all sorts of items on the side of the roads, from signs to buildings. So, just that statement alone shows me that they don't understand how neural nets work, right? Neural nets aren't actually programmed. Okay, it's a learning by input. There's no actual programming that goes into it. So, I mean, that alone tells you a lot. Wired reports notes that both Tesla and Volvo's driving assist manuals warn drivers about this problem. As Tesla says, traffic-aware cruise control cannot detect all objects and may not brake decelerate for stationary vehicles, especially in situations where you are driving over 50 miles per hour. And a vehicle you are following moves out of your driving path, and stationary vehicle or object is in front of you instead. So this, at least they're covering a little bit about how Tesla does address this and how they tell their drivers who are using these features. But again, just the fact that it's only coming out at the very end of the article here, and it's in quotes. I mean, they don't make any mention that before you can even engage this, that it's blatantly there. The NHTSA has stepped up its scrutiny of Tesla in recent months, as the company's autopilot software has been the focus of an increasing number of crashes. Many industry experts have criticized Tesla for its marketing of the software, which often suggests that human oversight of the vehicle is optional. Lies. Not at one point has that ever happened. Okay? That's just FUD. In April, senators urged the NHTSA to take corrective actions against Tesla to prevent misuse of its driving assist software. And in June, the agency issued new rules requiring companies like Tesla and Alphabet's Waymo to report all incidences involving such system. First of all, Tesla's been doing this all along. Okay, so none of that was new. And then the idea that senators are urging the NHTSA to take corrective action. What corrective action would you want from Tesla's point of view? Tesla's telling you, use the system the way I'm telling you to use it. Here are the precautions. Here are the rules. How is that any different than me telling you, hey, buckle your seatbelt before you drive. You must have your seatbelt on before you drive. And if you don't wear your seatbelt and you get in a crash, okay, well, let's go after the seatbelt companies because that makes sense, right? Like, at what point do we take responsibility for our own decisions? Stupid or not, it is up to us to make our own decisions. Okay, last article, the infamous Wall Street Journal. Here, of course, they start off with, a little video of a crash here, but, nevertheless, and I'm not subscribed, so I won't be able to see all of it. But again, the U.S. safety regulators are investigating Tesla Inc.'s advanced driver assist system, known as Autopilot, after a series of crashes involving emergency vehicles. And again, this is over the span of many years, with one fatality in that time span. We don't need to regurgitate all of this. So let's go in real quick to look at a quick video on how this actually works, how you actually turn these features on, and let's see how deliberate Tesla is with telling people this is beta or this is not fully autonomous and that you have to pay attention at all times. Okay, because if Tesla's not doing that, then I'm all on board with these articles. Okay, it is up to the manufacturer to state the risk and the full functionality of the features they're proposing. So let's take a look at that real quick.
If no matter what road you're on, you can't see that gray steering wheel, you need to go into the autopilot settings and you're going to get this error that you see here. So to get into the settings, you hit the car icon in the bottom left side of the screen, then autopilot, and then you'll see this menu pop up. You need to enable auto steer and you have to hit yes.
Okay, so this is to enable auto steer. So first of all, it's not on by default, as we can see. Okay, second of all, it takes about 2 to 3 clicks in order just to get here. And then we see here, the very first thing, the very first line, auto steer feature is currently in beta. That's very plain and direct. Following sentence, auto steer is a driver assistance feature and does not make your vehicle autonomous. The very second sentence. What's the third sentence say? Please use it only if you will pay attention to the road. Keep your hands on the steering wheel and be prepared to take over at any time. Let's see what the fourth sentence says. Auto steer is designed for use on highways that have a center divider, clear lane markings, and no cross traffic. It should not be used on highways that have very sharp turns or lane markings that are absent, faded, or ambiguous. This cannot be any clearer. How, you tell me, if an individual has to come in here and accept this before they turn it on, and they have to intentionally go through 3 clicks, you can't just accidentally turn this on. And it's not like this is all the social media BS about what they're going to do with your information, where it's in all this legal jargon that nobody can read. No, Tesla, completely transparent. This is at a 4th grade level that anybody can understand this, okay? This is made for understanding. It's very concise and it gets directly to the point. So don't give me this BS that Tesla tries to put off that their vehicle is fully autonomous and you don't need anyone to drive there. No, they are very direct. Okay, now this is with auto steer. And of course, there's more stuff here. Auto steer is currently in beta, which we say to encourage a higher level of vigilance. It is, if this were a computer or mobile phone, we would not refer to this as beta, but we believe the standards are considerably higher for vehicle control and want to be clear about the proper use of auto steer. Please refer to the owner's manual for more detailed information about the feature. Do you want to enable auto steer while it's in beta? Yes or no? At that point, you as an individual are making a cognitive decision on whether or not you want to do this. The onus is no longer on the company. The onus is on you. The onus is on you to put your seatbelt on. Okay? The onus is on you not to drink and drive. The onus is on you to take responsibility for your decisions. Okay? We have to get out of this world where it's always someone else's fault. Sometimes we have to look in the mirror. Okay, let's continue watching this.
To this little disclaimer here. Now, under this menu, if you have it, you can also enable Navigate on Autopilot.
Okay, so now we have Navigate on Autopilot. Again, another feature you have to go in and enable yourself. Okay, separate. Now, what does this one say? Navigate on autopilot does not make your Model 3 autonomous. So you please tell me, where is Tesla making it seem like their vehicle is fully autonomous? It's the first sentence they have in their disclaimer. There's no legal jargon. There's no confusion here. This is as blunt as you can get. Like other autopilot features, the driver is still responsible for the car at all times. At all times. Not some of the time, at all times. When Navigate on Autopilot is enabled, your Model 3 will determine which lane you need to be in and when, in addition to ensuring you reach your intended exit. Autopilot will watch for opportunities to move to a faster lane when you're caught behind slower traffic. When you reach your exit, your Model 3 will depart the freeway, slow down, and transition control back to you. Use Navigate on Autopilot only if you will pay attention to the road, keep your hands on the steering wheel, and be prepared to take over at any time. Your Model 3 will indicate when a lane change or exit is coming, but you are still responsible for monitoring the environment and maintaining control. When using Navigate on Autopilot, always visually check your environment and blind spots before confirming automatically initiated lane changes, as traffic may be rapidly approaching. As in the case with all driving, be extra careful around blind corners, highway interchanges, and exits. When you exit highways, remember that autopilot will not stop on its own and stop lights or stop signs or yield for merges. Do you want to enable Navigate on Autopilot while in this beta? Okay, the second you say yes, you are signing a contract. You are saying, yes, the onus is on me. I'm willing to participate based on these rules. Okay, so enough with this FUD. All right. Now, I want to show you one more thing just to kind of put a seal on this about how Teslas aren't safe. So let's look at this real quick. Okay, so what you see here is a chart from Hypercharts. Highly recommend that website. But I used this in my video from today, which I linked earlier. But this is showing the miles between accidents for Teslas using different features, okay? But first, if we look at the yellow here, United States. So for the average driver in the United States, or just in general, right? And this is from NHTSA, who's investigating Tesla, right? They have statistics that say that for every just under 500,000, so call it 480, 490,000 miles driven, there is a car accident for the United States. However, if we look at just a Tesla vehicle with no autopilot or anything being used, that number more than doubles. Okay, it's almost 1.2, 1.3 million miles before there's an accident. All right, so now if we look at it with Tesla and active safety right here, we can see that ranges from anywhere from 1.6 million miles up to about 2.6 million miles before an accident ever occurs. And then Tesla Autopilot, what they're investigating, okay, it can range from anywhere from about 2.8 million all the way up to about 4.6 million miles driven before there's ever an accident. Okay, so this whole premise that Teslas are unsafe is BS. It just is. Okay, the problem is Tesla makes front headline news no matter what, all right? And people sit there and they say, hey, they had one fatality over, the last, 4 to 6 years. And then they sit there and they say, oh, but there's been 11 crashes and they had autopilot on. Even if that were the case, and even if it was something that happened with autopilot, first of all, the driver's responsible. I think we've beaten that into that nail. What's the analogy? Sorry, I'm just beating that horse to death. Oh my goodness, I can't remember what it is. Anyways, some analogy, beating a dead horse. Thank you. With my fiance. So there's that. All right. But then we also don't take into account that how many lives were saved because of these features, because of autopilot. That's a metric that we just will never know. What we do know is that in the United States, for every 500,000 miles, there's a crash. What we know is that with autopilot on, it takes about, let's just call it 4 million miles before there's a crash. So you tell me, which one do you think is safer? Yes, there are going to be accidents. Yes, there will be fatalities. Nothing's perfect. But I can tell you which one is more perfect, and that's Tesla with autopilot. At the end of the day, about 3,500 people die every year just from a motor vehicle accident. Okay, and this is gonna be a little morbid, but my fiance today found out that a coworker actually passed away over the weekend because of a pileup in a car accident. Okay, this is a real thing. This is something that affects all of us. All right, and I told you guys in my earlier episode, we got back from Costa Rica. There was a car accident right in front of us. Someone clipped this young lady, and we had to get out of our car and help her out. Okay, like she was fine. Luckily, airbags worked. No deaths or anything. But this is a real issue, and to sit there and try to act like it's okay to have an accident every 500,000 miles versus 4.5 million, that is ludicrous. That is insane, and that is just criminal. Okay, that's criminal. This is the type of technology we need to be promoting and advancing, not getting in the way with FUD and slowing it down. Okay, so we're going to leave it there. Like I said, this is an impromptu video just because of everything that's going on. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate all of you guys. If you want to help the channel out, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hopefully I won't see you guys again until Wednesday. Cheers.